Hi you guys, my name is Cherita. Welcome to my channel. Alright, so in today's video, I'm probably not going to be very nice. And this is my disclaimer. If you are here to try to tell me, a black woman, what is deemed racist and what is not, you can kindly exit this video, and or your comments will be blocked and or ignored because I said what I said. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about this we're going to be talking about this girl who got called out over about a video of her saying a racial slur. She said the N-word, hard ER, and it was 3 years ago or 4 years ago when she was a freshman in high school. She just graduated high school and the video is just now starting to surface, and she is now suffering the repercussions. Yep, that word. And a lot of people, especially non-black people, have a lot of things to say about it, but we're going to talk about it today on this channel. So if you are interested in this video, go ahead and keep watching. Before I get started, make sure you click subscribe for new content whenever I post, and also do not forget to click the notification bell so that you are notified every single time that I post a video. So let's get started. Y'all, the kids is outside. Okay, so we're gonna start with the background. Apparently in, I wanna say it's like Virginia or something. I probably already got this wrong, but I will link the article below so you guys can read it all for yourselves. But there was a guy by the name of Jimmy Galligan, I wanna say his name is, and he was sent a video of a classmate saying the N-word, hard R. Now, a lot of people are gonna be like, well, what was the intent? Well, what was the context? Okay, here's the thing. I don't care the context. If you are not black, you cannot say the N-word. And you especially cannot say the N-word with a hard R. I don't care the context. So he was sent a video of this girl. Her name is Mimi Groves. And she sent a Snapchat and it says something like, I can drive, N-word, and sent it to, I don't know if it was sent on her Snapchat story or if it was just sent to a friend. However, somebody got this video and it was, I want to say, from 2017. However, Jimmy did not get the video until 2020. So a lot of people, and when I first heard of this story, I thought the same thing. A lot of people assume that Jimmy got this video in 2017 and he just sat on it. No. He got the video maybe 3 months before he even published the video. So that's the first thing. The girl said it, hard R, and of course a lot of people are like, well, was she singing a song? I don't care if she was singing a song. She said the word. And anyways, he brought this up to his principal and teachers and whatever. They did absolutely nothing. Basically, they excused it off as free speech, which is fine, but here's the thing. Freedom of speech does not mean that you are free of consequences. I believe that consequences are a thing. You run a red light, you get a ticket. You go over the speed limit, you get a ticket. Consequences, actions have consequences. Now, not all consequences are equal, and we can go into the justice system, but that's not what this video is about. But not all consequences are equal. But anyways, this school, who has a history, or at least the town has a history of being quite racist, they didn't do anything. They basically just said, well, freedom of speech. And because it was done during her private time and it wasn't done on school grounds, they felt like they couldn't do anything, and that's a problem. The problem with public schools is if something happens off campus and if the parents aren't doing anything about it, the schools technically cannot do anything about it. And that's a problem in its own, and I think that's something that we need to look at, but that we'll talk about that later. Anyways, this girl, Mimi, got accepted to the University of Tennessee as a cheerleader. Now, if you don't know, I dibble-dabble in the cheerleading world. I was a cheerleader. I judged cheerleading. Cheerleading is a big part of my life. And the University of Tennessee is an amazing program. They are so good. So because the school didn't do anything, they did not hold this girl accountable for her actions, Jimmy was like, oh, you got accepted to Tennessee? Let's see how they feel about this. Boop. And it was being circulated on, Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and whatever. And the reason why it kind of became a thing is because Mimi had posted something over the summer when George Floyd had... when they unalived George Floyd. She basically was like, here's a petition, blah, 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 blah. Black Lives Matter was in her bio, and somebody, probably from a burner account, said something along the lines of, oh, funny how you think Black Lives Matter when you said the N-word. Now, I don't know what happened to Mimi after this. I'm sure she was like frantic and like, whoa, what do you mean? What are you talking about? But then that's when the video came to surface. This was in the summer when kids were using social media to call out their classmates and basically just trying to hold them accountable. So let's talk about cancel culture versus accountability, because a lot of people, when something gets taken away, such as this girl who, she was getting ready to go to the University of Tennessee, and out comes this, this clip of her being, and now she's no longer going to the school, and they were like, you're not going to be on our cheer team. A lot of people see that as cancel culture. That is not cancel culture. That is called accountability. Like I said, actions have consequences. If you get behind your car, if you get behind your wheel and you're drunk, you hit somebody, you kill them. Obviously, that was not your intent. Your intent was not to kill somebody. But guess what? You are still going to go to jail for a long time. So a lot of people were like, well, but what was her intent behind that word? It doesn't matter. The point is, she said it and she knew she shouldn't have said it. Hi, future editing Cherita here. The point I was trying to make is she said the word and she hurt people. That's why I used that correlation between, somebody getting behind the wheel and driving drunk and then her saying the word, because either way you hurt somebody. So her not getting into her school of choice, that's not cancel culture. That's literally accountability. This girl is no longer going to her school of choice. That's not cancel culture. She still gets to go to college. She's still going to go to college. She's still probably going to be on a cheerleading team. I promise you, this girl is going to be fine. But here's the thing. We need to hold people accountable so everybody else around them knows, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I should not act like that. It's proving a point. It has nothing to do with, oh, we need to cancel her. We need to, put her on the stake, burn her on the cross. That's not what people are saying. But people need to be held accountable for their actions so that other people know not to do it. Why do you think we have people who go to jail? Like there are systems set up so then people go, ooh, maybe I probably shouldn't do that. Or maybe I should do that so then I can be able to do X, Y, and Z. This white girl will be fine. And let's talk about this. White is a descriptor word. I am describing what she is. I've learned through watching other people that fat is not a bad word. It is a descriptor word. So when you are talking about somebody and you're like, yeah, I met this girl, she was white, she was fat, she was short, and she had a big nose. None of that is bullying. Those are all true. Those are all describing who that is. So when somebody says, oh, that white girl, that black girl, that Asian girl, that Hispanic girl, those are describing words. That fat girl, that skinny girl, those are describing words. So calling somebody a white girl, calling somebody a black man, those aren't. When you say something like, when you start to add negative words or problematic words like that ugly white bitch, yeah, that's rude. But calling somebody what they are, that white girl, that's not rude. So let's stop that. Let's stop that there. But again, holding somebody accountable is not trying to cancel them by any stretch of the imagination. I talk so much about cancel culture on my channel, but what this girl did was wrong. And at the time, Jimmy tried to hold her accountable. The school didn't do anything, so he took matters into his own hands. So now it's this big public situation. I'm gonna read a quote from the article, which, oh my gosh, makes so much sense. The story behind the backlash also reveals a more complex portrait of behavior for generations that have gone unchecked in schools. And it's all because of this freedom of speech crap. I'm not saying that schools have to do anything, but when schools don't do anything, somebody else will. And again, this is just about accountability. And Mimi herself went on to say, oh, I was young, I didn't understand the impact of the word, blah, blah, blah. First of all, she knew the word was wrong, okay? That's just like little kids growing up. I mean, depending on how you raise them. They know certain words are bad words and that they should not say them. If they say them, a consequence happens. They get their favorite toy taken away. They get grounded from the TV for a week, whatever the situation is. Growing up, you understand these words are wrong, so you just don't say them. So as a white person, that word you cannot say. And that is on behalf of the Black community. That's all oppressed groups. When it comes to the LGBTQIA+ community, there's a specific word that is harmful to gay men, the F word, that heterosexual people cannot say. They cannot say it. And I'd be lying my ass off if I said I've never said that word. Intention or not, I've said that word before, but guess what? That word is no longer in my vocabulary. I used to say all the time, and this was back in maybe 2008, 2009, and I'd be with my gay friends, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm the F hag. I'm the F hag. And my gay friends allowed me to say it, but looking back on it, there is no reason that word should have ever came out of my mouth. Am I homophobic? No. Was the word that I said homophobic? Absolutely. And I think that's the problem that a lot of people are having. We don't know if Mimi is racist or not. We don't know. That word is period. You cannot tell me that word is not racist. Just like you can't tell a gay person that the F word is not homophobic. You cannot tell a trans person that the T word is not transphobic. You cannot tell a woman that bitch is not misogynistic. These are things that you can't get around. When it comes to an oppressed group, those are their words to use. So if you're not part of that oppressed group, you cannot use those words. And I just don't understand why it's so hard to not say that word. The fact that she said it with a hard ER makes it hard to justify. And there are a lot of people on Twitter trying to justify what she said. And the problem with that is, and this is coming from non-Black people, where they're like, well, if Black people don't want people to say it, then they shouldn't have it in rap songs and this, that, and the other. All right. I don't want my son to say certain words. He knows not to say those words. Sometimes we'll be listening to songs on the radio and that word will come up, whatever the word is. He knows not to say it. It's not that hard. If somebody tells you not to say it, don't say it. I don't understand why it's that hard to not say something. So let's go back to that school and that school district. I read the article. Again, I will leave the article below because it was very long, but it was so detailed and it was amazing. But one thing that stood out to me is in that school district, during Black History Month, during they were in elementary school, and it was like PE or something, and they turned off all the lights, and they played this underground railroad game where they had to go through obstacles, and if they made a noise, they were out or they had to start over. This is how race is treated where they live. So how race is taught is still very and still very problematic. And then for the adults to not care that these words are just being said all willy-nilly, how do you think that makes those black and brown kids feel? These adults are not protecting the black kids in these schools, because I know what it's like to be the only black kid. I know what it's like to be the only black person. I know what it's like. So when I, as a black person, go to a higher power, so imagine as an 18-year-old kid, and you go to a principal and you say, hey, just to let you know, this is what's being said. And they go, oh, well, freedom of speech. You don't feel comfortable. You do not feel protected. If they're gonna let a racial slur slide, what else are they gonna let slide? Who knows? You guys, first of all, this is not even a microaggression, but there are so many levels to racism, and when you let one thing slide, you'll let this slide, then you'll let this slide, then you'll let this slide. Where do we stop it? Stop saying the N-word. Stop. Because if you think that's okay, then you're gonna think, like, then like those microaggressions that add up become easier. Like, oh, look at her nappy hair. That's not okay to say. There's so much, like, there's so much to talk about, but this is something that I feel like we're always gonna fight. And the sad part is that, first of all, race is a social construct, and it's a social construct that was made by white people. Yet somehow black people are still the target and white people somehow become the victim. So many people are trying to protect this little girl because of what she said, rather than protecting the actual victim. Now again, I'm not here to say whether Mimi is racist or not. You'll have people who say, oh, she said the N-word, she's racist, period. I don't believe that personally, but what she said was, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Another thing that was really interesting was how, she said that she didn't really understand the severity of the word, which I think everybody needs to understand the severity of the word, which is why I think that history needs to be taught exactly how it was. We don't need to sugarcoat anything. We need to stop whitewashing history. We need to stop saying that slaves loved their jobs and that slaves were treated right and that, slaves worked for free, but they got a home. We need to stop that. But what I find funny is that her parents were like, oh, we don't tolerate hate speech. So then why was that okay? And why was it not rectified like 3 years ago? Because here's the thing, she literally had all this time from her freshman year to when she graduated. Hell, she had those 3 months when it was brought forward. Like when Jimmy got that video, which was I think 3 months before he put it out, she had time to hold herself accountable, to be like, to apologize. She had so much time to do whatever it was, but she chose not to. She doesn't want to hold herself accountable. She's not sorry. She's sorry because it was leaked. And I don't agree with, there were people who were threatening violence against her if she went to the University of Tennessee, which is another reason why she decided not even to go to the school. Like, the cheer team kicked her off, and then she decided just to not go to the school. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that type of violence. That's just me. But her not being on a cheer team or her not going to her school, that's not cancel culture. That's 100% accountability. There was a troll who was talking to me on my Twitter and asking me, well, what do you think the school should have done? Here's the thing. If she was a cheerleader, right? She should have gotten those privileges taken away from her. Maybe no more rallies, maybe no more football games. I don't know. But the school should have done something suspended her, have her attend some kind of racial insensitivity training, something. Not, well, it's freedom of speech. Well, you know what? Freedom of speech is freedom to get your ass whooped. Y'all remember the Twisted Tea Boy? If you don't know, you about to find out. There was a white boy and a black man. They were in a gas station, and this white boy kept saying the N-word. Now, you do have your black people who allow their white friends to say the N-word. Here's the thing. If you are my friend, if you are white, you say the N-word around me, I'm going to ignore it. However, if you say it around the wrong person and they beat your ass, you knew the consequences. I'm just not confrontational. That's just not me. That I'm not confrontational. And a lot of people will probably call me whatever. They'll probably call me every name under the sun, and that's fine. But I'm just not confrontational, and I'm not okay with white people saying the word. But I'm also not going to fight you because of it. But this white boy said, he uses the N-word, I guess, frequently, and he was saying it to another black man, and the black man said, can you please not call me that? That's all he asked. Can you please not call me that? That's just like, it's like respecting somebody's pronouns. That's literally what it is. So if they say, like this man said, please do not call me the N-word, and the white boy just kept popping off. I'ma say it if I want to. In this, in that. Just kept saying it over and over. And the guy was getting rightfully frustrated. And so, he had a can of Twisted Tea in his hand. He kind of flipped it up, and the guy was like, oh, you gonna hit me with it? And he was like, smack me, smack me, smack me. And, the guy flipped his can, and it fell on the ground. So the white guy kicked the can. That man picked up the can and smacked the mess out of him and then beat his ass. He said, please don't call me that. And then the guy he asked him, please hit me. So the guy hit him. I don't feel sorry for people in those situations. I just do not. To wrap things up, I guess, one, what she said was racist and wrong, and she should have apologized when she found out that video was being circulated. Actually, first of all, she should have never said it, but she should have apologized when she found out that somebody had the video. Like, at least save face. And then also, don't have Black Lives Matter in your bio if you truly do not believe that Black Lives Matter. If you don't believe in white privilege, if you don't believe in police brutality against people of color, if you don't believe in microaggressions, and if you support Jeffree Star, don't have Black Lives Matter in your bio. It's like oil and water. They just don't go together. They don't mix. You guys, we have a long way to go. And I would appreciate it if people would start to listen to understand and not listen to respond. Especially when talking to a marginalized group. You cannot tell a black person how they feel when a white person says the N-word. You just can't do it. And being black is not a monolith. Not all black people are going to feel the same. But I bet you, if racism was in the Bible, there'd be way more understanding white people. And that's actually sad to say. Morals are different. Morals are on a, what's the word I'm looking for? Morals are on a spectrum, but decency, like human decency, I don't understand how you can justify like a group of people, and it's a lot of people who hold the same values that say, listen, please don't call me that. Please don't use this word. I don't understand why it's so hard not to use. I think what Mimi experienced is the worst that she's going to get. I honestly don't think much more is going to happen to her. I feel like this should be a learning lesson, but I also feel like we talk about this week after week after week. And it's getting old, it's getting tiring, it's so frustrating. It's annoying. But things have to change. And I don't know where to start. Actually, I do know where to start. The media is where to start. The media is where a lot of people get a lot of their microaggressions and stereotypes, especially when it comes to marginalized groups. We need more marginalized groups to be not in charge, but at least to help. For example, you can't have a show about gay people without having gay writers on the show. Like, you just can't. You can't have a show about Chinese people without Chinese writers, because everybody's experiences are different. But as a group, a lot of them are the same. I don't know, y'all. I'm just tired of people trying to tell me how I should feel when it comes to racism. And back to the song thing. I know this video is all over the place, but back to the song thing. A lot of people say, oh, well, if you don't want other people to say it, then you shouldn't sing about it. And somebody said that white kids are tricked into saying those words because they're in songs. Tricked? What? What does that even mean? And if you have a hard time listening to a song without saying it, then maybe you shouldn't listen to the song. Because I guarantee if there was a song that had the F word in it, I wouldn't sing that part of the song. It's not that hard to do. And again, freedom of speech does not mean you are free of consequences. And it is not up to white people to decide who can say the N-word. We reclaimed that word. The word was started by white people. The word was started by white people, so black people reclaimed it as you're not going to belittle us. You're not going to treat us any kind of way. You think it's a bad word, huh? We're going to take it back and we're going to keep it. We're going to claim it as ours and ours only. So if you're going to be mad at anybody, be mad at the white people who use that word to begin with. So yeah, I think that rant is over. This video was not very good. I just went off of my emotions. But I really encourage you guys to check out the article, and I will link a clip of the video so that there's no, well, what was the intent? She said, I'm driving, nakers, hard R. She was not reciting a song. She said it to say it. She knew what she meant. That's my video for today. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. That helps me out a lot. Also, do not forget to link up with me on my social media, especially Twitter. All of that information will be down below in the description box. And until my next video, I'll see you guys later. Bye!